All right, so as I was saying, so we would have written PO, we would have written the ratio of 3 to a half in the form of a fraction. And that would give us 3 divided by a half. And we can write it as 3 with the division sign by a half. And now, following the division rule, write back the dividend, change the division sign to multiplication, and then flip the divisor. So we'll write 2 over 1. And this was a whole number. This is a whole number, so we'll write it as 3 over 1 because we want to write them in the form of fractions. And so for this now, we would multiply our numerator. So we get 326. Multiply our denominators, we get 1 times 1, 1. And this fraction now, 6 over 1, we rewrite that in the ratio form. So we'd write back the numerator as the first number in the ratio, and the denominator as the second number in the ratio. So this expressed as a fraction, this expressed in its lowest term would be in the ratio of 6 to 1. All right, so is that clear, guys? Let me see your hands if you are okay with that. All right, good. All right, so now we can move on to the next exercise, which is exercise 2. I am not, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just ask you to now do exercise 2, 1 to 4. All right, so we do exercise 2, 1 to 4, and the remainder, or should we do this? All right, so I'll do exercise 2, questions 1 to 3, and then now you can do the remaining questions for homework. All right, so just do those as homework practice. So, all right, so I'm going to ask you now to do questions 1 to 3 from exercise 2. And then now we will be moving on to a new topic. Hopefully, if we are not out of time, or because we're pretty much close, marginal in terms of time. But if we are not out of time after we have completed question 1 to 3, then we'll start a new topic. All right. So go ahead, guys. Try question 1 to 3 of exercise 2. All right, so guys, anybody finished with the first question? Let me see your hand. All right, Ms. Clark, you want to walk us through the first question, please?
Sure, sir.
All right.
All right. So for the first question, what I did, sir, I first add the 5 and 3, and that will give you 8.
Continue.
Then I put 5/8 times 800. Simplify that now, sir. Say 8 into itself one time. 8 into 800 goes 100 times. So 5 times 100 give you $500.
All right.
Next part, sir, I put 3/8 times 800. Simplify that. Say 8 into itself one time, 8 into 800, 100. So 3 times 100 is $300. And if you add those two back, you're gonna get the $800, sir.
All right. Very good. Thanks very much, Ms. Clark. Anybody else got the same answers, Ms. Clark? Let me see your hands. Okay. All right. So everybody should get the hang of that. So the principle is the same for question 2 and 3. You're simply first going to add the ratio, and then now you could write each part as a fraction of the sum times what you're sharing. All right, so for this one, we would have 4/5 times 80 to get the first part, and then we would have 1/5 times 80 to get the second part. Now for question 3, you would add up all the ratios. Here we would have 5 plus 4, 9 plus 3, 12. And you would write each part as a fraction of 12. So 5/12 times 120 for the first part, 4/12 times 120 for the second part, 3/12 times 120 for the third part, and so on. So everybody should be okay with that. How about question 4? Anybody got to question 4? Anybody want to do question 4 for us?
Yes, I did, sir.
All right, go ahead, Miss Wilson.
All right, sir. So it says the money
Right.
is shared within the ratio 5-7, and the smaller part was given $200. So we know that 5 to 7
Right.
would have been equivalent to 200 to X.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I turn them into an equation. So I have 5/7 equal to 200 over X.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I did a cross multiply. 7. Yes, sir. So I have 5X.
So X would be equal to
1,400, sir.
All right,
So we
so,
have
all right, so you would have 7 times. So X would be equal to 7 times
200.
divided by 5. All right.
Yes, sir. So
And
5
what is
into
the
itself,
calculation? You get how much?
280.
The answer is 280.
80.
All right. How can you check if your answer is correct? How can we check if our answer is correct? So remember now, the 5-to-7 ratio and the 200 to X, here X would be 280. So the 5-to-7 ratio would be the same as 200 to the 280, right? They are the same ratio, but one is in its simplest form. So in other words, if we are to check that this and this are these are the same ratios, then what we would have to do is to write this ratio with the 200 and the 280. We have to simplify that so that we get this ratio in its simplest form, and you should get back the same 5-to-7. So let us try that. Can we simplify 200 to 280? Can we write it as a ratio in its simplest form? Go ahead, Ms. Wilson, tell her what we can do here. Ms. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let us simplify the 200 to 280. Right?
Yes, sir. So I was saying you'd put 200 over 280, sir. Turn it into a fraction.
All right. It is not really necessary to do that. We can cancel just as it is.
Okay. So 0 cancels 0, sir.
All right, 0 cancels 0.
Yes, sir. And we see that the highest common factor of about 20 and 28 would have been 4. So 4 into 28 goes 7. And 4 into 20 goes 5.
20 goes 7. Oh,
4 into 28 goes 7, sir.
4 into 20 goes 5.
Yes, sir. And 4 into 28
4
goes
into
7.
28 goes 7. All right. So the fact that this simplified back to the 5-to-7 means that your answer would be correct, right? Because these, when you work them out, you should get back the same ratio as what they are shared in. All right, guys, is that clear to everyone? Let me see the hands of those who understand that clearly. All right. All right. Very good. All right, so I kind of changed my mind about these 2 questions. I'm going to just complete these 2 questions and pretty much start a new topic next class. All right, so try these 2 questions, guys. And then now we will finish after these 2 questions. All right, so anybody finish question 5? Let me see your hand if you're finished with question 5. All right, Ms. Cavero, do you want to walk us through question 5?
Okay, sir.
All right, so go ahead.
So the first thing I did was to add the ratio. So I add 2 plus 3 plus 5. And I got 10.
All right, so when you add those, you get 10.
Then I divide I divide 75 by 10 and got 7.5.
All right, so you have 75 divided by 10, and you get
7.5.
5. All right, go ahead.
Then I times the 2 by the 7.5 and got 15.
All right, so you have 2 times 7.5. Then you would do 3 times 7.5. Then you would do 5 times 7.5. What you get for the first one?
15.
15. The other one is
22.5.
22.5. The other one is
37.5.
37.5. All right. So from this, what have you conclude in terms of the question?
The ratio would be 15 to 22 to 15 to 22.5 to 37.5.
So the question asks that you're to find the amount of each metal. So what can you say in terms of the metals? Remember, you're sharing how much? 75 kilogram. So the metals would be what? Copper, zinc, and tin. So how much copper was in the material?
15 kilogram.
15 kilograms. And zinc would be?
22.5 kilogram.
And for the tin, we would have?
37.5 kilogram.
All right, so everybody see that? Let me see the answer those who actually got that. All right. Anybody else? All right, let me see the answer those who are clear on question 5.
Sir, why you divide? Can go 74 again.
All right, so your question is, why do we divide 75 by 10?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's taking the approach that the whole would be the sum of all the ratios. So it means that the total 75 kilogram of the alloy that we have would be equivalent to adding the sum of the ratios. So if the sum of the ratio is 10, then 10 would represent the total of 25. So in order to calculate how much you would get if you divide the 75 into 10 parts, then you would divide 75 by 10. And when you get 7.5 now, it means that 1 part out of 10 would be 7.5. Now, for each of these ratios, this one carries 2 parts. So in order to get the total of this one, you'd have to times 2 times 7.5, because 7.5 is just 1 part. So 2 times 7.5 would give you 15 kilograms. And for the second part, which would be 3 parts out of 10, so 3 parts would be 3 times 7.5. So we get 22.5. And for 5 parts, we would be having just 5 times 7.5. Does that answer your question, Mr. Pierce?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Everybody understand that? Now, you could have done it.
Yes, sir.
You could have done it in the way that Ms. Waysom had done it. You could write 2 over 10 times 775. You would have ended up with the same 15. You could have written 3 over 10 times 75, and you would end up with a 22.5. Or 5 over 10 times 75, you would end up with a 37.5. So it's just a matter of choice. You may choose to find 1 part first by dividing the sum, dividing the total thing that you're sharing by the sum of the ratio that give you 1 part, and then you multiply each part of the ratio by that 1 part to get the ratio of each of those. All right. All right. For question 6, who would like to walk us through question 6?
Me, sir.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Giovanni.
So first, me add up the 2 plus 7 plus 11.
And what you get?
20.
All right, so when you add all of these, you get 20. All right, continue.
Then I put the first part, I put 2 over 20.
All right, so for the first part, you put 2 over 20.
Times 840.
So you times what you're sharing. In this case, we are sharing 840 millimeter length. All right, so when you do that calculation, what you get?
I did cancel 0 with 0.
All right.
And then 20 itself, 1, 20, 84 goes 42.
But remember, you could just take this 2 and cancel this 2 up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that will give you what?
84, yes, sir.
Right, good. So the next one you do,
The 7 over 20.
7 over 20 times 840. What we do now?
0, cancel 0, 0.
Right. And then 2 into itself goes 1, 2 into 84 give you what?
42.
42. And 42 times 7, you get
294.
294. All right. Last but not least,
11 over 20.
11 over 20 times
times 840.
840. Go ahead.
0 cancel with 0. 27, 84 plus 42.
And
42 times 11.
how much you get?
462. Let me recheck that.
How much you get?
462.
462. And
Let me recheck here.
confirm. Can anybody
Yes,
confirm?
462.
Yes,
462.
sir, right.
Okay. All right. Very good, Mr. Giovanni. Did everybody get the same answers that Mr. Giovanni got? Raise your hand. All right. All right. So we would have now conclude this topic. And so our next topic, we're going on to consumer arithmetic. So we're going to start off with profit and loss. Then we move on to simple interest. And if you go to the notes section on the web page, you click on notes from September to December, and you will get the list of all the topics that we're doing in that order. So now we're at ratio and proportion. So the next topic will be consumer arithmetic. If you click on that, you will see all the subtopics that we're doing on that slide. Please go ahead and read up on that slide, go through the topics before you attend the next class. Now I'm going to be putting up a new quiz and a multiple choice quiz and structured paper. So for our second graded assignment, after we have gone through these topics, all right? So I would say to you, go ahead and try to go through the topics before you actually come to the class. You will find that you benefit a lot more that way, because you will be coming to the class knowing some stuff already based on your preparation. And you may have come across some things that you're not so clear with or you don't understand. So when you come to the class now, you could ask questions on the things that you're not clear on. And so at that point, I can give you clarification on the things that you don't know. And so you would have benefited greatly in that way. So try that approach for me, students. Try to go to the topics that are next in line, read up on them, try to go to the examples, and then we come to class. And then while I'm going through them, you can ask questions that are relevant to the things that you don't know. Is that clear? Word to the wise is sufficient. Going to end here.